All right, and we are recording again. We are here for another Integration Quest MuleSoft study group. Thank you everybody for joining and coming. Today we have presenting Digital D. She's in the house. She's going to be presenting on Hyperautomation with Salesforce Einstein and MuleSoft. We're looking forward to it, looking forward to learning about this. I've got a couple of quick things to go over real quick, and then I'll turn it over to her. As always, just pointing out, everything's been great. So glad about it. But I just like to say, if your mom and dad would have asked you not to do it, please don't do it, and we'll just keep on going. We've got a really good record going on right now, so I'm liking it. I keep on getting more and more comments and likes in the YouTube channel for Integration Quest. I want you all to just keep on checking out anything that's over there. It might be a help to you. I want to keep on saying this for new people coming in. Go ahead and subscribe while you're there and hit that bell so that way you can get these videos as I put them on. I put them on the same day that we have the study group, and in case you missed something, you can get it in the library, the Integration Quest library. There's the link down there, 2 different ways to get to it. And I'll respond back to the comments, by the way. I love talking to people, so if something helps you or you have an idea, say it, and we'll communicate about it. All right, so like I said, we've got Diane, my mom, Integration Quest, and Digital D, and she's just all over the place helping everybody. She got a lot of experience. Like I'm always saying, it's not just about the experience. It's about the fact that she is willing to give back, because what difference would it make if she had all this experience that you see on screen there and didn't do anything with it? It wouldn't help us. It wouldn't help me. And I'm so thankful that she's willing to help, because I need help. I need all the, expertise and the generosity and love that she's given back with what she's doing today. Super thankful to have her here today. So y'all help me give her a warm welcome. Thank you for being here today. And I'm going to stop sharing so that way she can do that very thing and give back like she's always doing.
Well, thank you so much, RJ. I appreciate it. And excited for the work you're doing also with Integration Quest and hosting the study group, as well as doing some of the additional work that you do for me. So it's pretty exciting that we're working together in this. And yeah, it's all about sharing. That's one thing I have to say. When I first started in IT, let's go back like a very long time ago. There were people who helped, but it was kind of like this little closed network, and it was kind of, we were all a bunch of nerds, and a lot of people didn't really, I was a social butterfly. To me, I'm like, hey, what you doing? Let me help you, or I'll help, help me, I'll help you, kind of a thing. And so at any rate, it's kind of funny to see how it's progressed, because when I came into the MuleSoft community, everybody opened, their arms wide open and embracing and helping. And that's what I'm accustomed to, is like helping each other, building each other up, encouraging one another. And so people help me, and I in turn enjoy helping others to share what I've learned and what, we've always said that, when 2 or more are gathered, is like you have this extra, influence, to kind of build upon each other and grow from there. So it kind of carries over into the IT world as well. So
absolutely. It's good to see how things have changed for the better in that regard. We were actually talking about you last week when Philip was presenting. He had on display how data used to be saved, and he was showing the reel to reel. And I was like, hold on a minute, that my mom has explained that. So in my mind, the reels were always bigger, but in the video or in the picture, you could see that they were actually a little bit smaller, but it was just still really cool to see. So that's how far back you've gone in this. So it's good to see that people are more willing to open up and share. Maybe, who knows, maybe they were afraid that you might steal some of their ideas or something. Whereas now everybody's just like, hey, it's okay,
Exactly. More, kind of, more secure in a lot of ways. Right. There were 2 sizes of the reel-to-reels, by the way. There were the reel-to-reels that were 12-inch diameter, and then the 7-inch diameter. So depending on what size your name and address file was, we would either use the big ones if it was the transactions of all the updates for the night of the bank, of every transaction. It was the 7-inch because they were smaller file sizes.
There's
So
our answer, Philip. I was
easy.
literally saying, and we were talking about it. I was like, I got to ask her because I don't know. And here, I just finally had a chance to ask Philip, and you heard the answer at the same time as I did. So
There
awesome.
you go.
Very
Yeah.
good. Well, as
Yeah.
always, I'll keep an eye on the chat. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in there.
Sounds great. Sounds great. And I know it's a busy day today for a lot of people, being the day after, a holiday, and it's Black Friday. And so I know a lot of the people that I invited that were in my hyperautomation classes, they have mentioned that they're going to catch the recording. So if you're watching the recording, please drop a message in the chat. Let us know how, like RJ had said, what your feedback is on that, and, how you experienced it. So the
Very
slant
good.
on this, what is hyperautomation? I get this question often, and people often will say, is it something you buy? Is it kind of a set of something? What is it? Okay, and what we share, in the hyperautomation course and as well as in the real world is that it's not something you actually purchase, or it's actually a process. It's kind of, there's automation where you can automate a task. There's also a business automation, and then there's hyper automation, which spans further beyond just that particular business process itself, and integrating with different users, different business groups of users. And so I'm going to share a lot of the details for you here in our study group today. So essentially, that means that we're going to be using different products, a lot of different products in the areas of
I don't know if it's just me or not, but your audio and video did cut out a little bit there.
Yes, I
Yeah.
thought it was me too.
Yeah, you're starting
oh
to come back.
man.
Maybe cut
All
your
right. I'm
video.
going to
That might
go
help.
off of video
Yeah.
and
I'll let you
see.
know if anything changes.
Okay. Disable noise cancellation to improve performance. Interesting. And how is it now? Does it pick back up?
Yeah, you sound great now. Everything
All
sounds
right.
really good now. Yeah,
Okay.
try that.
Yeah.
I think that's
Catch
what it
me
was.
interrupt though, so I know that, we need to scope
I
something out.
definitely will. Yeah, no worries.
All right. All right. So we've got some objectives, and we're going to talk about AI with Einstein and MuleSoft. And then I'm going to conclude with an exam preparedness tips for individuals that are planning to sit for this certification, as promised for some of the students in the course. So hyperautomation objectives, there are some key factors here. It starts off with a MuleSoft API, a full lifecycle API where we build out the specifications. We go ahead and publish it to Exchange, use it in Studio as a interface, and then in turn deploy it to Cloud Hub and secure it with policies. So that's kind of a necessity for a MuleSoft asset to be used in the hyperautomation solutioning. Okay, so in regards to that, the other element that we do is we tag that API so that it will populate into the API catalog. And I'll be sharing some visuals on that for you. Another tool that is used in the hyperautomation, and not that you have to 100% use all of the tools for hyperautomation, but they're kind of like in your toolbox. Do you need robotic process automation? And what robotic process automation brings as a solution is the ability to have mundane human tasks managed by a bot. Okay, so it would be like a website that doesn't have an API or an interface that you need to interact with, that, truly is like, human mundane tasks. To do that, a bot can do that for you. So we cover robotic process automation. That also, too, another part of the objectives would be using MuleSoft Composer. MuleSoft Composer has a lot of pre-built connectors that you will see. Now, there's another product that is already GA'd, and it is called MuleSoft Connectors for Salesforce Builder. And it's a kind of a transitional type of thing that I believe will be happening at some point where we might be using that instead of Composer, but they're very, very similar. So that is another part of hyperautomation. Salesforce flows we will be using. I'll show you some of the Salesforce flows that are created that are part of the hyperautomation process and solution. And one of the types of flows is a orchestration flow, a Salesforce orchestration flow. And so these all work together to be the foundational integrations, whether you use all or part of them. And we're going to invoke and have Agentforce, have an agent be using what we have set up. Now, the examples that I have for you today are actually going to be the API, Salesforce Flow using the data from the API, as well as orchestration, and the AI agent is going to start it all. Agentforce agent will start all of this. How's sound doing so far, guys?
Sounding really good. No issues. I'll let you know.
All right, cool. All right, so sometimes the hardest thing about hyperautomation is knowing when to use the right tool. For example, we might be able to achieve the same goal by creating a Mule application and using a Mule API solutioning part. And yet at the same time, maybe Composer will do the same thing, but it is going to be, a little bit different in maybe not needing IT involvement so much. So, but as a rule of thumb from top down, when we are talking about having multi-stages of a solution for an entire process with different users involved, then this is where we would, want to use a flow orchestration type of flow. So that would be, when you start seeing, that, oh, this is, going to be different processes along the way, like let's say a loan application. A loan application, they have to send in the applicant, first of all, fill out the application, send in the application. Then someone from the loan department will have to verify, maybe their income, their assets, their debt, so there's multi-users involved here. When approved, then it needs to be updated in their account, so there's all these different multi-stages and multi-steps, and orchestration does that beautifully. The example I'm going to give will show you how different divisions of an organization are going to take part in this. Then also Flow Builder, which is in Salesforce, allows us to build automations that are smaller pieces of the bigger flow orchestration, because a flow orchestration will tag these different flows. So Flow Builder in Salesforce is that piece that we use, and it's kind of a single stage, single step, along the way of the automation pieces. So the top two are in Salesforce. Top two are in Salesforce here. Now coming to the center, this is where we use MuleSoft. That's our MuleSoft API, our Anypoint API. And as we know, a lot of us are very familiar with MuleSoft, that we can integrate with legacy systems. We can integrate with a database and have all of that information coming forth, and unlocking that data to be used elsewhere. So this is where we would want to, have our foundational data already being, accessed, if you will. And then robotic process automation, again, is those systems that don't have an API, that are unstructured data in nature. You cannot use an API in these cases, or to manipulate and modify data that is normally not easily accessed. So robotic process automation may not be present in every hyperautomation solution. However, it is a powerful tool to have a bot work for us. Okay. And then finally, the bottom one that's mentioned here is really referring to Composer. It's called flow integration. This is actually from a previous slide that we had material on it, but it is actually referring to Composer of pre-built connectors. And again, you're going to see all of that. So from a bird's eye point of view, you start realizing, whoa, okay, so on Anypoint Platform side, these are all of the different I guess you could say areas in which we will support the life cycle of the API, designing it, publishing it to Exchange, using Anypoint Studio, deploying to Cloud Hub, managing with API Manager. If you want to add HTTPS, use a TLS context with Secret Manager. And then robotic process automation. I'm going to walk you through all of these. I'm just giving you a bird's eye view. And we also use access management for connected app and Composer. Another big AI presence as well is using intelligent document processing. Okay, so that's going to be another element of AI that you're going to see today as well. So on the Salesforce side, we are going to create a connection between Anypoint Platform and Salesforce that then in turn supports our APIs being used in Salesforce flows through the API catalog. This opens us up to be able to have those endpoints utilized directly within Salesforce flow. And then, of course, Salesforce orchestration is going to be tagging these different flows, invoking these different flows along the way. And we pull all of it together at the bottom with the AI Agentforce agents. Okay, because that's how it's all going to start. So I'm going to go through the process and share with you a lot of this along the way so that it kind of gives you a deeper understanding of what all is happening. So to begin with, we're going to start off with integrating both platforms. Okay, so looking at this, here we go. Looking at this, we have Anypoint Platform. All right, so here we have Anypoint Platform. And now if you would like to follow along with this, you can create a trial account. And some of this will work with a trial account. What will not work with a trial account is the automation portion here that I'm going to show you. But there are a lot of the steps along the way that will actually work with a trial account. Okay, so be sure to check that out. So this is the Anypoint Platform account. Now I have previously created an API out here in Design Center, and this is going to be, let me get in the right spot here. Yeah, here it is. An API that is supporting a database where we have invoices, we have promotions that may be happening for different, like maybe a battery replacement for an EV vehicle or a window tinting or whatever the case may be. There's different promotions. So if we even just do the get on this, we can see that there's a free window tinting, or I should say a window tinting promotion for either the SUV or the truck. And so you can kind of get an idea of the endpoints here. So we've got one endpoint that is going to get promotions, another one that's going to get the parts needed for those promotions. Okay. And then there's two other endpoints here. One of them is actually to post a service after a service has been completed. And then another one is posting invoices. We won't really address that one too much in this demo, but the promotions of the different promotions available, as well as the different parts needed for that given promotion, are what you're going to see ultimately. And now these have been deployed to, I ended up bringing this specification into, of course, I published it to Exchange. And then we ended up using this in Studio as the interface. Now, this particular API is tagged for SF API catalog. And when you do that, this will be supporting the synchronization of this API within Salesforce. So the integration elements are critical as we are building out, you know, the starting point for using this API. So this API ultimately, like I said, is going to be fully developed as a complete API. And then, of course, here are, this one, I don't have it secure at this point for the sake of demo. But this is actually pulling the data, the live data from the database of the different promotions that are available. So there's a battery replacement, there's various things. And to point out something too, depending on the vehicle that they have chosen, okay, so there's an EV truck, an EV coupe, there's different types of vehicles. That's important. Wanted to mention that for you right now. And that's going to have a bearing on what we do on the Salesforce side. But right now, all of this is all of the promotions. And oh, by the way, do you want to get a promotion for a particular promotion that's happening? Let me get you the parts, and you got to provide it with a code, one of the codes. And that's not a code that's been activated. Let me try to find one that is. 1 second. Let me find a live promotion. All right. So let's get a promotion and the battery replacement. There's tire rotations. Let me get, there it is. EV3 BAT7. That is a live promotion. And so we will now go to that particular promotion. And so here is the part. It's just one part of the extended life battery. Okay. So all of this is pulling data from the database, live. All right. So the this is on the, like I said, on the Anypoint platform side. And what we need to do is we need to integrate this Anypoint platform account with a Salesforce org. Okay. And so this is a process. I've done this in several different videos recorded for you all. You can do this with two trial accounts, the Anypoint platform trial account, as well as a Salesforce developer org. And I will drop these in the chat for you real quick. This is a fully entitled. Let me drop that in the chat. We'll also put this in the YouTube. That is a Salesforce developer org that has the AI components to it. So you want to use that one. And then, of course, the sign up for Anypoint platform. It would not have the Hyperautomation entitlements to it. So what you would not have Composer, and you would not have robotic process automation or intelligent document processing there. Okay. So anyway, our mission at hand is to unite these two platforms. And now this one, I did already unite them. I already integrated them, but I'll show you the steps to do that. So on the, first of all, in the Anypoint platform account, we'll go to the Salesforce tab on the left here. And it's saying, okay, let's add a Salesforce org here on the right. So I went to Salesforce and I went to setup. So previously done this already. And you go into, in the quick find, Anypoint platform setup. And when we do this portion, Anypoint platform setup, we would, this one already shows the integration. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and bring in another one just to kind of give you a visual on what this whole step looks like. So let's see if I can use an email account that is not activated. Let's see. There we go. Is that going to work? Let's put some different labels here just so that it throws it off a little bit. See if it's going to let me do this. I am a human. How's audio going, guys?
They're doing really good.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so let's see if this is going to let me do it. Almost there. Check your email. Okay, let me go grab that email. Oh, well, hang on a second. And I shall confirm this. So you'll, like I said, you'll get an email notification. Let me share that with you now. Welcome to your new developer org, and reset your password. Here is your username. So be sure to jot all this down. And this, like I said, is an AI-enabled account. So you do want to, you can keep it active. It does not expire. And so you want to make sure that you will have it for usage, you know, for different learning experiences. So we're going to reset the password here. And ready for a new password, reset. And so I'm going to quickly create a password here. And security, that's fine. Oh, they don't match. Now they do. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jot these down over here real quick. Okay, so now it's kind of like welcome to your new Salesforce org here. And I'm going to go now, like I showed you on the other account, I'm going to go to setup, upper right, drop down into setup here. And I'm going to, in the quick find, I'm going to do Anypoint. Okay, so Anypoint platform setup is here. And now notice this has not been completed. The other one that I showed you that I'm going to be demoing off of, because it's fully built out. I wanted you to see this integration and give you the opportunity to go ahead and get this completed. It says complete the connection here on the right. Now, you will also need to do an Anypoint platform account as well. And this same process will work between the two of them. I'm just going to go ahead and attach it to this entitled account that I already have in Anypoint. So I like to go ahead and click on complete the connection. So if you're watching the video and you don't have an Anypoint platform account, pause it, go forward and watch it from there. And what we want to do in this window is copy the Salesforce org tenant key, because we're doing a handshake between Anypoint platform and Salesforce, the integration. So we're going to copy this org tenant key. And then I'm going to come over to Anypoint platform. I'm going to add Salesforce org. And this is where I'm going to place that tenant key, the Salesforce org tenant key. And I'm going to click add. Okay, now it wants to know, what are you going to call it as a reference? Okay, so I'm going to put my initials. I'm going to put study group, example, something like that. Okay, so that's just whatever I want to call it. And I'm going to click add. Now you have the Anypoint platform org key. So this is the Anypoint one, and you want to copy this one as well. And over here in Salesforce, we'll come back to Salesforce and paste it in. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and proceed and go to the connect. And what this does is, behind the scenes, it's creating the infrastructure needed to handshake between these two different orgs. Okay, between the two of them. So now we have made this connection, and we can go ahead and close this on the Anypoint side. And we can come down to where we see it in the list. There's my study group example. Okay. And notice on the right-hand side that there are two things disabled here. Now, if you're watching this video and the interface is different, it changes all the time. Okay, it changes often. Let's put it that way. But you want to enable that we want to import the API. So slide this over where it says disabled on the right, and then you'll have a pop-up. We want to continue. Again, this is on any point side. And I want to go ahead and for the business groups here, I'm going to use the ones that I personally have been using. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on 2 here. All right. And then I also want to enable the this next one also right below it, allowing the MuleSoft Direct. Click on both of those. Okay, so now both are enabled here on any point side. And now going back to the Salesforce side here, we also need to enable, that one's in the beta, but we want to enable Agentforce in this new trial account that you have. It's not even a trial, it's a developer org that as long as you log into it every 30 days, it will not expire. Okay. And notice it says disabled in Einstein's setup. So again, we're talking about Einstein's part in our integrations and invoking and using the agents. We're going to use the Einstein setup. And here at the top where it says Einstein setup, we want to go ahead and toggle that on. And this enables Einstein on Salesforce platform. Okay, so that is complete. We'll go back now to Anypoint platform setup. And now we can enable Agentforce in this Anypoint platform account. Okay, so again, we have enabled all of this. There's a new seamless login. It's in beta. I'm not going to go there right now. So we'll kind of just let that sit there. But essentially, our relationship and handshake between Anypoint platform and Salesforce is now good. The other thing that you must do is go ahead and search in the quick find up here for Agentforce. If it's not showing yet, refresh the page because we just turned Einstein on. Retype Agentforce agents. Agentforce agents. So if it's not showing at first, you must turn Einstein on, and then you can turn on Agentforce agents. And now in the upper right, notice that there's Agentforce. So we want to turn that on. And we should be able to enable the Agentforce default agent here. Yeah, when you turn all of that on, then the agent element and agent builder is all activated within your platform, within your Salesforce org. Okay, and if we type in agent builder, here we go. If we just click on agents here, we're already there. And yeah, we can add a new agent here that will take us into agent builder. Okay, so this is going to lead us into creating a new agent. And, you know, so there's a lot of pieces of this puzzle to start building out the hyperautomation solution. Okay, so now this has kind of got you a starting point to have AI present here. Now, let me show you some completed portions that will kind of speed up the process. I wish we had all week long to go over it. And I say that, you know, you're going to see work as a reflection of a course that completed a lot of these pieces for us. But that integration part, you can do a trial account. Yeah, Philip, it's great. The accounts didn't expire as long as you log in. Now, your Anypoint platform, if it's a trial account, it does expire in 30 days. My apologies, but there's not much we can do about that one. At any rate, you know, you can utilize the 30-day period of using them both. right? So that kind of gives you something to work with there. Let me go ahead and close this down here and get us to where we need to be. Okay, so now let's talk about what we've completed so far. In the process of integrating Anypoint platform and the Salesforce orgs, what we have done essentially is we have created this handshake between both of the platforms. And when we do that handshake that you saw us do, automatically there are assets that are created in Salesforce that if you're sitting for this certification, you might have questions surrounding this. One of them is the named credentials, like what you call it, the external credentials, how it's authenticating, and a permission set provided with that. This automatically got created for us. We used to have to do this manually, so I'm not going to confuse you with the details here, but instead I do want to point out that there are things that occurred behind the scenes that make this work. This is how the integration pieces all come together. Okay, so in our process here, let me make sure I'm on the right one here. It would be 1 second here. There we go. Okay, so this is the Salesforce org that we have created and completed the different pieces of the puzzle. I'm going to start showing you the pieces of the puzzle first. Now, the biggest piece of this puzzle is Anypoint platform. Okay, and you saw that, our API. What we then did is we brought that API inside of Salesforce in the API catalog. So going to setup, coming down to the quick find, I'm going to do API. Now your account that you're working off of, the trial one that you're creating, will not have this unless you added an API in your Anypoint platform account. And when you first come in here and you do a synchronization here, they will begin to populate inside of your API catalog. Both of these APIs are tagged SF API catalog, and that's what causes them to show up here. Okay. Then once we do, that's our Mule API right there, car company SAPI. Okay. And once I did that, there are my 4 endpoints, and I activated 2 of the 4 endpoints to be used inside of Salesforce. Okay, so we did that integration piece. Now we brought it in closer inside here. And now when I did this process, it therefore created an Apex class for each of these endpoints, the 2 that I chose. Notice I only activated 2 of them. Okay, so that's another critical part of this puzzle. Now, when I go in Salesforce to use the endpoints in flows, getting there. There we go. I want to use those endpoints in Salesforce Flow. So we did the integration, we did the API catalog, and now I want to access my Mule endpoint inside of a Salesforce Flow. So let's go there now. So inside, I will go, I'm in setup still. So in the setup mode, I'm under the quick find going to type in flows. Okay, under process automation are flows. Now, by default in your org that you just created, you're going to have a lot of these flows already here. And so they're kind of a defaulted flow that you can use to work with. The ones that I'm going to focus on are part of the EV, the electronic vehicle use case. And so I'm going to come down here and bring up the EV get vehicle promotions. Okay, so remember when I ran that endpoint and I got a list of all of the promotions. I showed you that in Exchange, and I got a list of all of the promotions. So now when we come in here in Flow Builder, and I can take a look at this flow that I previously created. This flow is an auto launch flow. In other words, it's going to be invoked by the flow orchestrator. I'll show you that one. And then we're going to click on the get promotions here. Now the get promotions is using my API. See it? It's using my API right here. So it is actually going to access my endpoint of my get all promotions. And when I get all those promotions back, I'll see a list of all of the promotions available, okay, in the 200 response here. I'm going to deactivate this for a second, and I'm going to run this in debug mode to show you. All right, so here's the promotions. Then what's going to happen is we're going to provide a vehicle name here and then filter the promotions down for only the vehicles that I've asked for, because there are promotions for all different kinds of vehicles. Well, I only need to return the ones for the vehicle I've asked for. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to run this in debug mode. And it's going to ask me for a vehicle name. So one of them is a V-0001. There it is. Okay, so this is a certain vehicle. We'll see which one it is when this runs. So this is going to go search and go to our Mule endpoint. And it is going to get the promotions here. So if we open up this interview on the left, we can see that it's coming down and it's getting all of the promotions from my Mule endpoint right here, all of the promotions for all kinds of vehicles. But now I'm going to say, okay, I actually only want the vehicles. I only want the promotions for the truck. And now it filters it down to just 3. There's only 3. And you can look at them here in the output and see the 3 different promotions. And then, these 3 promotions are what's handed back, and you will see it be part of the bigger picture. Okay, so these 3 promotions are what we're going to be sending back. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of what this Salesforce flow is doing. Okay, so I'm going to activate this again so it's active and in use. We debugged it. It looks good. It's working as it should. Now, in all of the flows, there's several flows here. That is one of them that connects to a Mule API. The other one that connects to a Mule API is the EV case parts. EV case parts. Now, I'm not going to debug this one and run this one, but I wanted to show you once again, we are going to a Mule API or Mule endpoint right there. We're getting the list of parts and we're looping around. You know, if we got 5 parts, we would manage each 5 of those. And then we would add that those parts listing to a case that gets created. Okay. And I'll walk you through that ta-da moment at the end. So at any rate, this is another flow that's being used. Now, where are all these flows being used? You know, we've talked about these Salesforce flows. There's a bunch of them. Some are small, some are big flows or bigger flows, but we're going to use the flow orchestration to pull all of this together. Okay, and then we'll talk about the AI part because that's cool, very, very cool. So Salesforce orchestration is next on our list to take a look at. So in the orchestration flows, I'm going to go back to our flows here. And in the orchestration flow, there is a particular type of flow in the EV group. So notice these other EV flows here. EV accounting rejection email. Okay, if I'll explain what that's all about. But if someone is not approved to move forward, we'll send them an email. If they are approved, this is the approval flow. It's a screen flow. It's going to ask us a question. Do you approve them or not? So all of these other smaller flows are going to be part of our orchestration. Now I'm going to click on the flow orchestration down here. And this was created, we created this, and this is a different type of flow altogether. And it is a record, in this case, we chose to use a record triggered flow. And what that means is if a new case is created, new with a new status, and it's a type of a scheduled service, and it originates from chat, then this orchestration flow will run, okay? And when it does run, we're going to have a decision that happens. Do they have a service contract or not? Okay, now that's going to be in their case. And so depending on whether they have a service contract or not, we're going to say, no, they don't have a service contract. And so now the decision needs to go, it's an interactive step, and it needs to go to the accounts receivable department for approval. So remember when I said orchestration's used for different types of groups to have a human in the loop to approve or not, or set a date. You're going to see a couple of these. And in this case, it's accounts receivable department that will approve or not. Okay. And if they're not approved, then we're going to automatically send an email that they need to contact support, and their case is going to be changed to waiting for customer. Okay, so if that is a no, this is what happens, and everything stops. If this is a approved on this side, or if they have a service contract, then we're going to come down and follow this process. The first one is we're going to go get the list of parts. Okay, we're going to go get the list of parts. That's our mule flow. Remember, that's our endpoint. So it's going to invoke the EV case parts, and that's our Salesforce flow of getting the parts. You already saw this, right? So you can hop over and see that. Then our next one is, are the parts in stock? That's a human in the loop. And if the parts are in stock, then we can schedule the appointment. And when all of that is done, then they can send the email regarding the appointment. So these are different steps that run different flows that are in Salesforce, orchestration flows. Okay, the orchestration flow. So how does this all come together? All right, well, it comes together because we're going to use the agent. All right, so now I'm going to hop us back over to our agent in Agentforce. And I have previously created this EVs R Us AI agent. Okay, and this agent was created with specific instructions. Okay, and the importance of focusing on this is that you must give your agent, your AI agent, instructions on what it needs to do. Where does it get those instructions? It gets those instructions by having a topic with actions assigned to it. Okay, a topic of what it's supposed to do, and then the actions that it's supposed to follow from there. So that's what you're going to see the details of here, is that this AI agent, and you can have multiple, this one is a customer facing agent. And we have given it a topic. It is to go get the vehicle promotions. That is its topic. Okay, that's what this agent does. And it's going to build out and create a case. What? No. It's going to build out. Interesting. Let's see if I can get to the topic. Gotta love it when it's live.
That's right. While you're getting that sorted out, I want to say that I'm always happy to see the human in the loop action. Anybody that's been listening to me like host these or whatever, just always pop in when you give that part, because that's important. Like, say the part is in stock or it's not approved. Now somebody would need to make a decision. You know, you don't want this thing to just run and go and do things that you don't want it doing. So I'm really happy to see that
Yes.
when you got to that part. Very important, very good to see how you can get these agents working for you, but you're still ultimately the one making the decision.
Definitely. And having the control over it, you know.
Right.
So for the agent, you build out the topic, and then under the topics, you're going to have actions. Okay. So again, when we're talking about the guardrails of how it's, you know, to behave or not to behave, this is where all of this is very important. Okay. What its role is, what it should do, the actions, what they shouldn't do, you know, the channel where it has access, you know, we set all of that up. So yeah, it's really important, because, you know, we want to enjoy AI, but at the same time, we want to make sure it's doing what we intend it to do. So I can't emphasize the topic details enough. Of under the classification description, under the scope, this is telling it what its boundaries are. Your job is to list a customer's vehicles, retrieve and represent relevant promotions for each selected vehicle. We're telling it what to do. Instructions: always verify a customer's identity by getting their last name and their email. If the customer asks about vehicles, use the EV get contact vehicle action. Okay, so we're even giving instructions here of exactly what it's supposed to do and the order in which it should run. If the customer asks about promotions, strictly follow these steps. See how detailed we are telling it to be in these instructions. Okay, so all of these instructions are very important to be very specific. All right, and then under the topic, we're going to look at the actions. All right, now this is the guts. This is the guardrails. This is the actions of what they have capability to do. And so in the EV get promotions, okay, this is actually going to run our flow, our EV get vehicle promotions flow. And so in the communication, we are defining the input and the output. And for lack of time, I can go into this in more detail, but for lack of time, we are identifying the input output of this agent. Okay. So all of these were previously set up by the different actions and the topics and everything that, you know, was identified here. So let's test it out. Let's try it. Down here on the right, when you've identified first you've created an agent, then you've defined its topic, and then you've given it the actions. Now it's ready to be tested out. So what we want this agent to do is to take, in my natural language, tell me about vehicle promotions. And it's going to go, and I'm going to use a contact over here. There's a contact that's been previously created called Tristan Chris. Now, Tristan, if you look at his vehicles, he's got two different vehicles here. He's got a sedan that does not have a service contract and a truck that does. So we're going to put in a request for service on both of these. And then we're going to see what his case looks like. There's examples of some of the cases here, what those cases actually look like when we're doing the human in the loop. So it begins with AI. Okay, so we're going to go back to the agent and we're going to test it out here. So I'm going to just in natural language say, tell me about vehicle promotions that are available. Okay,
While we're waiting for that to come back, Philip had a question in the chat. He's asking, in the instructions, do they follow them from top to bottom, or doesn't it matter?
Good question. I'll have to find that out. I think they tell you not to have the actions be conflicting or the instructions conflicting, but we could test it out, and see.
Yeah, I'd be curious, like as it's hitting different things, is it going to affect anything on the final result? Yeah, that's a good question. I guess you'd have to just try it and see, huh?
Yeah. I think that, but yeah, we could test it out. Great question. So this is in the builder area. Now this is actually, I can show you the website where I actually have the little, chat bot that comes up and everything. So this is in the builder, just to kind of save us a little time. But so it's asking me to assist you with your vehicle promotions. First, I need to verify your identity. Could you please provide your email address and last name? Because remember, that was an instruction. Number 3 is telling it exactly how it's supposed to behave. So in the center of the screen, when we're in the builder, you see actually how it's working, how the AI is being managed, what the prompt is. Here's the prompt. You can see, some details on the prompt. You can see what action it used under the instructions, and then what action. Okay, so now I'm going to give it the email associated with Tristan Chris's account. All right, so there's the email, and then it's going to say, oh, can you provide the last name? Okay, yes, I'll go ahead and provide that as well. So now it's fetching contact, it's getting the vehicles. So we already saw Tristan's email account or his vehicles, right? So one of them doesn't have a service contract, the other one has. So I'm going to go ahead and send in a request for number 1 first, or you can type in the sedan or whatever. But if you do, you can do number 1 or sedan. And it comes back with the promotions. So those are the 3 promotions. Remember, we saw that filter when we ran that in debug mode. There were 3 different promotions. And so now I'm going to go ahead and choose the number 2, the battery replacement. And what it's doing right now is it's going out there and creating a service case for the battery to be replaced on the sedan. So if I come over here now in my cases and refresh this page, let me make sure I'm showing all of cases, all open cases. There we go. And here is the new case here. So I can go ahead and click on this new case. Now, remember, this one does not have a service contract. All right. See it right there? It does not have a service contract. So now I am the human in the loop here. This little window that popped up here is the human in the loop. Are you going to approve them? And I'm going to click on no and click finish. So now what's going to happen, if you remember our orchestration, if I still here, we just said no. So this is what's happening. Okay. If I go back to that case and I refresh this page, notice now waiting on customer. And if I look at my email, I should get an email that says, hey, contact the service department. Okay. So the email was sent and the status was changed, waiting on customer. All right, let's go back and request it again. I'm going to refresh this chat completely and tell me about vehicle promotions. And see, all of this is AI. This conversation with this agent is all AI. All right, and again, it's saying email address and last name. And I can put them both together. I don't have to put them separate. And then the last name. Okay, so now it's getting the vehicles. I'm going to choose the same one. So we'll do the sedan. All right. And I'm going to do the battery, but this time I'm going to approve it. Okay. And there it goes. All right. So now it's even telling me the case number. The new case number is here. So this part of the, there is the create case. Notice this action here, create case. That's why this case is getting created. So if I go back to all of the cases, here is the new case. And now again, it's asking me, do you want to approve? And I'm going to say yes. Okay. So now on this path, I'm going to go this route instead. And I'm going to go, it's going to automatically go get the parts. And then I'm going to have an interactive step here that says, what are the parts in stock, essentially, or what status are the parts? And that's the service department. Then if the parts are in stock, we're going to schedule an appointment. That's going to be the service department. So parts department, service department, and then an email is going to be sent. Okay. So being that I approve, now it's saying, what is the parts status? Well, we're going to go ahead and say they're in stock. Okay. So human in the loop from the parts department, they go, yep, we got you. Go to next. Now, the next thing in the work guide that's coming up, this is all from the orchestration. Set the date of your service. I will go next Tuesday at noon. Next. Okay. And now notice on the right-hand side of this case, we have the total cost that's been populated. We also see the appointment time here. We see that the parts are in stock. So all of this got added, even the parts needed got added to this case. This is all part of the Hyperautomation solution. So you get a broader view of how all of these pieces are part of this whole solution. Okay. And so now they're just waiting for me to go get my service done. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to the agent builder again and do one more for the one that does have a service contract. Okay. And so I'm going to go tell me about vehicle promotions. And you can create an agent and ask it wrong things and have fun with that. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on our time here. It's good to test the boundaries. All right, so now let's go ahead and we're going to do the truck now. It has a service contract. And again, you can see all the communication here of the agent, making sure it's behaving as you want it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do the truck. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the battery replacement. Oh, yeah, it's kind of messing up. It did this the other day too. Come on. It'll hiccup every now and then. All right, we'll try it one more time. If it's going to misbehave, we'll go on. But it did this the other day too. So we're going to do the truck, has a service contract. And yeah, it's doing that again. There are promotions that we know. So at any rate, maybe we'll try it. We'll try it from the web page. Give it a second. But at any rate, we're going to look at the promotions here. Or I should say the case is waiting for me to go get scheduled service done. Now, this is where we want to jump back over into any point. And in any point, there are some flows. And the flows inside of any point will take and close out. Let me get to Composer. We'll close out that given. There you go. This is not going to be 100% on this one, but it gives you an idea. We would go in and establish a Salesforce connection here under Salesforce. So these are pre-built connections here under Salesforce. And that would in turn pick up on when a case got closed on the Salesforce side, that would then post to our endpoint. And time's not going to permit me to go over it. I'm already over a little time here, but I wanted to at least show you, the portions of it that are on the composer side and what also would be managed within Salesforce as far as that's concerned. So under the composer side here, we would make those connections and build these flows out here. I actually thought I had some flows built, but my bad. They're not built out there. So Composer would be a portion of it also that would allow us to use those connections and, trigger the connect, what occurs when you want that flow to run and what these pre-built connections are here, and then post it actually to that endpoint. So there's still a lot of the pieces of the bigger puzzle that are pretty impressive. But in the, see if I can go to the web page. I'll go here first. So something that's been, see if I can locate. Here we go. See if this is going to work. Because this is what the actual agent will appear to be like. Come on. No, not that. There we go. Okay. So in this whole process, one other thing I need to do real quickly is to activate this agent. Notice he is not activated. So I'm going to activate him. All right. And now I need to log in on this page. So give me 1 sec. We'll get logged in here, and then you'll see what the agent actually looks like on a web page. This is one of the Salesforce web pages that you can use to create. All right, come on now. I know how we can get it. Hold on a second. One moment, please. If you're already logged in, it won't ask you for your credentials, but for whatever reason, it was not liking those credentials. Ah, it's still going to make me do them. Oh, that's why. Let me go here. There we go. Okay. So this is a bare bones website that we set up in the Hyperautomation class. And notice the chat icon on the bottom right. This is our agent. Okay. So this is the AI Agentforce agent that we created. There it is. EVs are us. How may I help you? Tell me. So that this would actually be somebody's web page here, and there is live. Tell me about EV. Tell me about promotion, vehicle promotions. So now we won't see the breakdown of the actual agent working, but now we can see it's telling us, what is the email and the last name. Oh, no, you don't need to go there. That's okay. Okay, so I gave it the last name. It's going to come back with an error because I misspelled the last name. So that's working. That's good.
When you're setting this up, you're telling it which LLM to use behind the scenes, right?
It is automatically using Einstein. There's not a
Okay.
difference on this
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Sorry, my
As
brain was
opposed-
going to Agent Blazer, doing it,
Yeah.
doing
Now
that.
you could remember, because you could set that up under the agent itself. We'll look at that, because I bet you it's in the configuring of the agent what AI LLM we were using.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Makes
Right.
sense. It would default to Einstein, though. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. It's defaulting there, I'm sure. We'll go to the EV4 truck. That's the one we were trying to get before. But notice the interface is a little different. Okay.
You have to write a 1 or a 2.
Right. Yeah. Come on. It's still coming back with no promotions on that one. That is so weird. All right. So let's see if it's going to let me go back in here, and let's do the sedan. And see, given it natural language, let's see if it's going to handle that. Wow. Oh, you know what? I wonder if it's because I've got cases open. Ooh. All right, there's the truck. There's the sedan. It might be blocking me for this reason. Hang on, let me close these out, because it should have worked on the other one too. Hang on. All right, so the truck, all of these need to be closed, because it's already got one being held for that. Worth a try. Let's see. All right, so close this one. At any rate, so it's not allowing multiple cases to be open for each of these. Close. And waiting on customer, which is kind of a good thing, so they don't have a bunch of cases open.
That's right. That the customer doesn't keep doing it over and over, and they just fills up their list.
Yep. All right, let's see. All right, so that should be all of them that are open for right now. Okay, now let me go back and try. And I'm going to close this and have it reopen and chat. I want it to freshen everything up. And close. Okay. And I don't have to put that exact wording. It should be able to identify what we are wanting. Now we're leaving out two big parts of this solution also. And like I said, time is not going to permit to cover everything. Maybe we could do part 2, which would be robotic process automation, how it's used, and really to see Composer working. All right, so the truck. Drum roll, drum roll. So in the meantime, it's going and getting the parts. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh.
All right. Battery.
That's it. I'm definitely leaving that part. So if you have cases open, it's going to block it out.
Yep.
That's good. Like Philip said, I was unmuting to say the same thing he said. You should have that one customer out there that would just keep on getting coupons. So it's doing a good job,
It is. It's finding it. So here it is here. And this time, because it is covered by a service contract, we're not being asked if AR is approving or not. And that was all part of our orchestration, right? We just went this route right here. Has a service contract, go right into asking. We're not going to ask if they're approved or not. So that's where the human in the loop part status, we're the parts department right now. And we're going to say they're in stock. Now it just bounced over. Now, if we're in the service department, services made a phone call to the customer and says, how is 12 o'clock on Wednesday? And now we wait for the customer to come in. And then in the email associated with their contact record, they should be getting email notifications. Your service appointment, there's the service appointment. And also another service appointment. I had a couple service appointments there. And the other interesting thing, I'm also the group being pinged to approve it or not. So I'm getting messages that, hey, you've got a work guide. These work guides are associated with the vehicle promotions. So anyway, the all of this that I have shown you, you should be able to do with an Anypoint Platform trial account and that Salesforce org that we created. But what you'll have to do is under the agent builder, let me go back into this to answer one of the questions. And that would be open in, let me see if I can find it here. Under some of these should be where we identify, yeah, it's not going to let me open it that way. I don't know why that part isn't working, but okay, let me go in here. And there is a segment, context, language. There's somewhere in here where we're able to choose the LLM, and it might just be defaulting it.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just having flashbacks to agent
Yep.
force, where you're setting everything up,
Yeah.
everything going.
And under the language, can it automatically detect the different languages, or do you have to set it to a specific one?
I bet you have to choose that language.
Okay.
I bet you have to choose a language.
All ones on there and move them over, right?
Right.
Oh,
right.
That's great.
Select all available languages. So it's defaulting to English, and it's active, so that's why this one is not.
It's not allowing
doesn't make any changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I deactivate it, then yeah, select all available. Then it should be able to determine the language.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's crazy, isn't it? But play around with it, and then as far as like the instructions with this one, the instructions that what they say when you are creating the instructions for it is to not have conflicting instructions, to where they the following instructions are used to run this topic, but I don't know if they are like if one can, like what order that they're ran in, obviously like you've got to have the correct credentials before it'll let you move forward, right? But then it'll tell you now first, second, and third here. We gave it explicit instructions there, right?
Okay.
But so the order would probably matter, but I don't know, like if we put this one at the top, because you can change the order of them, I believe. But I've never done them out of order per se. And then in the actual part up here with the actions, these will apply based on, like what it needs to do. Okay. So that's where this one is, it's going to run this action in the event that, verify the customer using the email and address. So you've given it this information already, and it's going to go validate that. Okay. So the actions are going to be based on your description, and that's all ran through the Atlas engine, the Atlas AI engine that manages like what the agent is going to use here.
Okay.
And then when you are running it in debug mode, when we're running it here, hey, I want to buy a new car. Okay, so we can just mess around with this one here. And it's like, well, I can help you with promotions. First, let me verify your identity. It came back to the email address and last name, even though I said, hey, I want to buy a new car. It's kind of like guiding me back, to what its purpose is,
What it can do, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of interesting to see, so if I give it bogus information, it's going to say, it's saying, what can you clarify what you're looking for? So it's actually using some like AI elements here to, try to figure out, I want to buy a new car.
Yeah, and then
Is wanting the email address. And I did misspell it. So we know what it does if it's not correct. It's got to have a match. All right, so let's see if I can buy a new car under Chris's name. I want to buy a new car. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Did you see what it said?
so I did, yeah.
Yeah. I need it moved, it took it away though when I said it said if you're interested in buying a new car, let me check if there are any promotions available for new vehicles. Could you confirm if you're looking? So look what it gave back. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. And here you can see the output evaluation. The response lists 2 vehicles associated.
And then it says it's ungrounded. The response there, so it doesn't respond with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fascinating. So these are the AI pieces that are working, behind the scenes. Anyway, I could go on because it's fun. So I'll stop here. But a lot of this was built out, and some of us, we built this out in the fundamental class. Or I'm sorry, not fundamental. What am I talking about? In the Hyperautomation class, we built all this out. And so I'm building a one-off in another use case. So anyone that wants to kind of experiment, you've got to create all those little supporting flows. And then the AI agent can use those different flows to help it achieve its goals.
We see how important it is to get all that set up just right too, because it needs to know when to stop, ask you a question, check with you, and go on. It's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Now we ran out of time for the exam prep thing, so I'll do that as another session for anyone who's wanting to watch the, who's planning to take the exam. I know that there are some people who were interested in that, so I'll do that as a separate event.
Sounds great. There was questions coming through while you were rolling. I always open it up at the end. Any more questions?
I would just like to say that it takes a lot of time to set up, but it is time that it'll save you in the end after it's all set up and running well. It's worth it. It is worth it after seeing it in the end.
Definitely. Yeah. And imagine, a person would have to be doing all of that. Whereas now what they end up doing is the agent's handling a lot of that, creating the case. Then where people need to be involved in that, they can be answering those questions. And there's another thing that there's a dashboard that shows you where each of those orchestration steps might be stuck. Like if somebody didn't approve something, there's a dashboard that you can see where something needs to be approved if it got overlooked.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Keeps track of the humans that aren't doing their job.
Yeah. With that, would you say that this is the same amount of testing? Like we have to test everything, obviously, before you just release it to the, into the open. Would you say that in hyperautomation, are you going to test this just as much as you would, say anything else that you're doing, or would you say that it requires more testing on account of all these, dashboards, like you're saying, and different, things that it needs to catch for you?
Yeah, definitely the smaller pieces of the puzzle that can be individually tested are tested. So we do a lot of testing at each level. And then when we pull everything together, testing the entire thing. you know. So there's because of it being hyperautomation, and it's got task automation, business process automations, and then the big automation thing. You've got to test everything at different levels.
Then
Yeah.
do
I was thinking that.
thing.
Yep.
Okay, right.
You
I
know,
was thinking
it's
that the
cool
whole way
though.
through. As I'm watching all the way through, I'm thinking, okay, that, that's more testing as you're adding everything. I mean, it's just part of it. Once you get,
It is.
like Philip said, it's a lot of work up front, but it takes the load off of you on the back side of things. So
Definitely.
good.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Yeah.
If there isn't any more questions, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. That was very good, very informative.
Yeah, thank you so
And
much.
I want to throw out next week. Stay tuned, tune in, whatever you want to call it, because we will be doing Flex Gateway. I don't even have a title for it yet. So this is so new, hot off the press. We've got Janavi. She's been in here a few times in the study group. She'll be presenting. She said for the first time. We're going to be happy to have her. And she'll be doing Flex Gateway. So tune in for that, and we'll see you there on that one. And again, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop recording, and we can hang out and chat like we always do. I like saying that too. That way people will be like, oh man, I need to be there live so I can be there for the
That's
social
right.
hour.
The after hours. Yep.